Hello, I'm Avram Friedman, reporting for the Canary Coalition's Real News Project on the demonstration that took place outside Harrah's Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina on Saturday, June 7th, as many of the state's leadership were congregating inside the large hotel across the street for the statewide annual Republican Convention. About 100 people came to this remote location to protest a variety of actions taken by the North Carolina General Assembly, Governor McCrory, and the regulatory agencies appointed by this administration. If these political figures believed they were escaping their persistent opposition and negative press reports by hiding in the mountains, they were mistaken. The protesters raised all the issues associated with the Moral Monday Forward Together movement, such as the enactment of a regressive voter suppression law, the lifting of the ban on fracking in North Carolina, the refusal of Medicaid expansion funds from the federal government, the denial of unemployment extensions to those who have lost jobs through no fault of their own during the recession, the shifting of taxpayer dollars from public schools to private school vouchers, and the repeal of the Racial Justice Act. The protest was peaceful and orderly as the tribal authorities issued the required permits on short notice, and the police were cooperative in helping to facilitate the provision of a fair and visible location for the demonstration to proceed directly across the street from the main entrance to the casino.
We're here, from my point of view, because the state legislature and the governor has signed a bill that is egregious against allowing people the option whether or not to choose to have fracking in their communities. Counties and jurisdictions are not allowed to override the state. We're not allowed to say what chemicals are being used in bringing the gas out of the ground. People's well water is going to be damaged. Who knows what else is going to be damaged. I'm not even sure where the gas is going that they're pulling out. I see this as pretty much as a class issue. Wealthy people don't want fracking on their land, but poor and middle-income people who can use the money are allowing it. In the meantime, the rest of us are going to pay the price. The ground is going to be ruined. And we also know that there's earthquakes that happen as a result of doing the fracking.
I really admire all the folks that have gone down to the Moral Monday events in Raleigh, and I have to work a lot for my job, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, so I don't get a whole lot of chance to participate in that, and so this is kind of like my only chance to send these folks a message when they're out west here to visit us. And I think a few of my co-workers are also going to be here today. I'm kind of in healthcare, so they have good reason to be here. So it's kind of going to be an interesting, fun thing for me today.
I'm here because I was so incredibly upset, devastated, infuriated by the passage of the fracking law in North Carolina, but also because I have been so just absolutely appalled by the legislation that's been passed since 2013 by the radical regressives of the North Carolina General Assembly. I grieve for these mountains. I grieve for the people of these mountains and the people of North Carolina who are being hurt by this legislation. But I also grieve for the lawmakers who seem to have lost their moral compass and lost any sense of humanity to be able to see the kind of pain they are creating for people who are not the 1%. It is appalling to me, and I'm here to stand up for those who can't be here to stand up and speak.
My interest in fracking is just developing, but it's very clear that the government is willing and wanting to sacrifice the environment and potential poisoning of our children and our grandchildren. I'm a grandparent, and I just visited Vermont. My daughter lives in Vermont now because she knows they won't frack there, and when we were talking about fracking, and she lived here for some time, she started to cry. She cried for the people that are here and the deceitful, evil kind of actions our current administration is taking. So that's the way I feel. It's just, and as we've investigated, it's crazy. A felony for disclosing chemicals that are being pumped in the ground. That only says that it's toxic, it's wrong, and they're in the pocket of big business. Let's vote them out. End the tyranny.
Because I think it's important that North Carolina realize that the people that are representing them now don't represent them at all. They don't represent their values. I think they represent corporations, and our politicians have been reduced to being nothing more than Nazi corporate running boys with their own interest at heart.
I think it's a terrible shame that this administration has not expanded the Medicaid definition. I think that's going to cause some people to actually lose their lives in North Carolina, and it's just terrible what they've done in a short period of time in this state to prevent people from getting things like health care, unemployment benefits. That's the other thing that affects me. At one time, I was on that unemployment, those benefits for a short time. When I lost my job, I needed that, and of course I was able to find another job and recover and move on, but there's a lot of people that are really hurting, and I think to cut that benefit is really a shame for people. And my wife is a teacher, and so what they're doing in this state to education, trying to take away the teacher's tenure, not giving any raises, I think it's pathetic. We're going quickly from the top to the bottom in North Carolina, and so we've got to turn this thing around.
It's good to take a stand for something you believe in, and it's like the GOP takeover of North Carolina is the corporate interests. It's not about the people. I mean, they've got the Regulatory Reform Act, which is going to allow industry to pollute, carte blanche, and the fracking, the way they've rammed that through Congress, the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. I mean, it's abysmal what's happened in this state. The outside interests that are paying for it, the Koch brothers, Art Pope. I mean, it's just, I don't know how it happened. It's nightmarish. And unless we do something, unless we get people on the streets, it's not going to end. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. The environment's under threat. It's just a terrible situation. I don't know what's happened to our country. Steve and I go back to the 60s when we used to protest the Vietnam War. I mean, in those days you could get hundreds of people out on the street at a moment's notice. And nowadays it's like, oh well, we'll just Twitter and use the internet. But yeah, we've got to take a stand and get these guys out.
Well, we're really interested in the lifestyle and water quality of this area. And of course, we only have the same amount of water that was here when the earth was formed. And if we screw it up, there's no more that we can get. And we can certainly find new ways of creating energy, but not of creating water. And we can't recreate these mountains ever again, so we're here to try to protect the mountains and the whole planet.
Because I am from Western North Carolina, and they've passed the fracking bill in the middle of the night without any public comment. It's very obvious they intend to steal our land, whether we want it done or not. So, no to fracking is
because I'm very strongly against fracking, and I think it's dangerous for our land, for our people, and for our water, for our future. And I feel like I need to do my part.
Sign says
in your yard. I think the people that do the fracking, if they're asked if we could do it in their yards, would say definitely not. And I think that most of the people in North Carolina don't know what in the hell fracking is. And so that if somebody sees these signs today and wonders what it is, maybe they'll find out exactly how dangerous it is.
So my name is Shane Day. I'm originally from Atlanta. I lived in Western North Carolina for about 7 years before we had to go to West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia, for my wife to go to grad school. We just graduated. We thought we were getting away from the fracking industry, and we show up to North Carolina, and this is what we're presenting.
My name is Candace Day, and I've been a whitewater kayaker and a North Carolina resident for all my 29 years of life, and just moved from going to graduate school in West Virginia University and saw the results of fracking and the hell that comes from the extractive resources industry, and the fact that you can't even trust your tap water not to give you cancer, and that I know a lot of our mountain folks here in North Carolina are not going to like the fact that the government is taking away their property rights. And even if your neighbor wants to have fracking, it's still going to affect your land underground. Even if they think that there might be a little bit of gas under your property, they can just come and start drilling and you have no choice. So we need to stand up to them and kick them out right now before they get started, and all of our groundwater and our rivers and our creeks and our tourism and our fishing and our hunting is gone forever.
Hello, my name is Joshua Grant. I'm born and raised 7 generations from Nantahala Gorge, one of the biggest watersheds on the East Coast and perhaps the world. And I know one thing, no matter if you agree with your neighbor or not, you don't ever pollute their water source or poison their well. And if there's any chance of doing that, whether with the EVAP ponds or faulty casing, that's a very possibility the industry admits to right now. So I think that solar is a valuable source of energy right now that most all people can agree on, that we're going to have an unlimited source of solar for quite a few million or billion or thousands of years to come, whichever your religious belief.
So we're standing here with Congressman Mark Meadows, who has joined our demonstration. How are you, Congressman Meadows? Good to see you.
Beautiful day in Western North Carolina.
Are you thirsty?
Day.
Would you like a drink?
Okay.
Yeah. So, tell us, Congressman Meadows, how come you've joined us?
No comment. Vote Meadows 2014.
Okay. Okay. So tell us, what's your position on fracking, Congressman Meadows?
More pipelines. I like pipelines. Those are good. Vote Meadows 2014.
More pipelines?
More pipelines.
What about the problem of water contamination from fracking chemicals?
No comment. Vote Meadows 2014.
I see. What about earthquakes?
No comment.
No comment. All right. Tell us, what's your position on regulation? Should we have any strong regulations in place for fracking?
Strongest regulations in the country would be about the same as no regulations in the country. No comment.
Okay. Well, very good. What? I see you're burning $1 bill in your cup. What's that all about?
Well, we shut the government down back in October and cost the district about $1 million a day. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
I see, but you're in favor of, like, no taxes, right?
No taxes. Taxes are bad.
What about public schools? How are we going to pay for public schools?
No comment. Meadows 2014.
Meadows 2014. I see. Okay. What's your position on Fukushima? What about Fukushima?
I think it's delicious. Meadows 2014.
I see. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you for coming, Representative Meadows. It's been a pleasure. Anything else you'd like to tell our listening audience?
Come out to enjoy the beautiful Great Smoky Park Highway Great Smoky Park National Parks here while I leave them open. Thank you, Meadows 2015.
Okay. Thank you,
Kim Nelson. I'm from Asheville. I'm a mama and a grandma, and this is written by a woman in California who's been doing protests for the last 20 years.
Okay.
Grandmother's back, pressing down to the ground by the oppressor man, cursing down, down, down. Grandmother's back, pressing down to the ground by the oppressor man, down, down, down. Grandmother's back, see what we're doing. Grandmother's back, creating a ruin. Grandmother's back, hear what she says now. Grandmother's back, be changing our ways now. Her body is not a commodity. Her body is not a commodity, not a product to be bought and sold, not to be mined for oil and gold. She's not a product to be bought and sold, not to be mined for oil and gold. She gives what she needs to live. She gives what we need to live. She brings all the world to life. Without her we don't survive. So wake up, people, wake up and hear the call singing, wake up. People wanting all this disposable society we're living in today. Disposable society going to throw itself away. So wake up, people, wake up and hear the call singing, wake up. One and all,